Good evening, students. Are you able to hear me?
Good evening, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll just give you 5 minutes time. Okay. I want everybody to revise self-inductance and mutual inductance again, and do let me know if there is any doubt, because we are going to start with a problem based on mutual inductance. Okay, just go through it. Exactly in 5 minutes, we'll start. Then there are two topics that are left out. Both are theoretical. One is eddy current, and the second is alternating AC generator, which are very simple. We'll be completing the chapter, if possible, by today itself. Okay, just go through it. Guys, did you all revise the concepts? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. I am revising.
Any doubt? Any doubt from any of the concepts that we discussed in the previous class?
No, sir.
Oh. So, in the previous class, we saw one important thing. What is it? We saw what is mutual inductance, right? So, there were two types of mutual inductance that we discussed. What were they? One is M12 and the second is M21. Correct? And what were their values in terms of magnitude? They both are having the same value, provided the length of the solenoid in both the cases same. So if the length of the solenoid in both the cases is same, then we can say M12 is equal to M21, right? Now, based on this, we are going to do a problem. Instead of solenoid, had you been provided with circular coils, then how are you going to find the mutual inductance of that particular coil is the question. Okay, how to proceed? So read the question. There are two concentric spherical circular coils, one of small radius R1 and the other of the capital large radius R2, where R1 is very much less than R2, are placed coaxially with the centers coinciding. They're like this. Obtain the mutual inductance of the arrangement. So what were the steps that we followed, guys? There's an important derivation, important problem. So what were the steps that we followed? So what is the formula for mutual inductance? What did we get? M12 is equal to N151 divided by I2 and M21 is equal to N252 divided by I1. Do you guys remember this? So if I take the inner coil as the first and this outer coil as second, okay. Now suppose I2 is the one which is connected to the battery. Second conductor is the one that is connected to the battery. The current in the second circuit will be I2. Correct? Now due to I2, there will be a magnetic field that is getting generated. What is the value of magnetic field? If I call that as B2, then B2 is how much? Mu naught times I2 divided by. So what is the magnetic field due to a circular coil at the center? Mu naught I divided by 2R. So mu naught I2 divided by 2 times R2 is going to be the value of the magnetic field due to the second conductor. Correct, Ada? Now, yes, what will be the flux associated with the first coil? Flux associated with the first coil is BA cos theta. Have this in your mind, right? So here, who is contributing to the magnetic field? It is the second coil, and that magnetic field which is generated due to the second coil, we are concerned only about the flux through the first coil. So I need to take the area of the first coil and the angle between B and A. So what is the value of B2? It will be mu naught I2 divided by 2R2 into what is the value of A1? It is pi R1 square into cos of 0 degrees. Correct? So mu naught, this is the value of flux, mu naught pi I2 R1 square divided by 2 R2. Let me call this as equation number 1. See, I didn't write N1 phi 1 because there is only one term. They told it is one. They didn't talk about terms, right? It's only a single loop. Then what is going to be the value of M12? M12 will be N1 phi 1 divided by I2. So N1 phi 1 is this thing only, mu naught pi I2 R1 square divided by 2 R2 divided by I2. I2 and I2 will get cancelled. Sorry, what did I do? Not pi. Mu naught pi R1 square divided by 2 R2 is going to be the value of mutual inductance of the first coil with respect to second. Now, I'll give you some time. You do mutual inductance of first with respect to second and tell me what is the answer. Sorry, second with respect to one and tell me what is the answer. What is the answer, guys? So M21 is equal to N2 phi 2 divided by I1. Here N2 is 1. So what about phi 2? Who can tell me? So phi 2 is how much? BA cos theta. So if you have to calculate the flux through the second surface, in the case of M21, who's connected to the battery? I1 is flowing, means the first coil is connected to the battery. Yes or no? Yeah, are you able to understand? So phi 2 is equal to magnetic field generated due to the first coil into, what should I write?
Sir, A2.
Why A2?
Sir, this is the second coil with respect to first coil, sir.
Okay.
So we have to take
But
the
here they told R1 is very much lesser than R2. Means the magnetic field that is generated due to this first coil will be almost present within the first coil itself. You could have written, but what you told is right. I'm 100% agreeing. The answer which you told would have been right had this condition not been given. Are you able to understand? Kishore, right? Yeah, what I'm saying is, had this condition not been given, then yes, you would have taken B1A2 cos theta. But since the first coil is very much small compared to the second coil, then the magnetic field that is contributed due to the first coil is almost within the area of the first coil only.
First coil. Okay.
So then it will be B1 into A1. This is the only point you need to be careful. That's why I'm saying this is the trickiest part. Even in derivation, we did something like this only. So what is the value of B1? mu naught I1 divided by 2 times R1
R1.
into pi R1 square, correct?
R1 square. Yes, sir.
R1 and this will get cancelled. So you take this value and substitute it in the place of M21. So M21 will be equal to mu naught pi R1, the whole divided by, did I miss something? Did I miss something? Divided by
I1, sir.
no, that is there.
I1, 2I1.
So I1 and I1 will get cancelled. So mu naught pi. Here I'm getting R1 square. No, dimensionally also there is some mistake. R1 square. One minute. From equation 6.14. There is some confusing thing there. Yes. Actually, see, guys, there's one more important point. See, this point, they have not solved it in the paper. They just took it as M12 is equal to M21. If this is there, no, then when the current is flowing through this circuit, if I call this as I1, then the magnetic field at the center due to I1 is given as mu naught I1 divided by, it is given as 2 times R2, where this is R2. Okay, V1 will be equal to mu naught I1 divided by 2 times R2. That is the reason why they could have got that M12 is equal to M21. Or else this should have been the answer. Mu naught pi I1 into R1 divided by 2 times I1. But did you guys understand the logic? Did you make a note of what I did? I think there is a mistake there. M12 cannot be equal to M21 in this case. Just give me 2 minutes time. I'll do it again. So what is M12? N151 divided by I2, correct? N151 is B1 A1 cos 0 degrees divided by I2. So what is the magnetic field generated due to the value of I2? So it is actually B2 A1 divided mu naught I2 divided by 2 times R2 into A1 is pi R1 square, the whole divided by I2. I2 will get cancelled. Mu naught pi R1 square divided by 2R2. Let me call this as equation number 1. Similarly, tell me guys, M21 is equal to N252 divided by I1. What is N252? That is magnetic field generated due to the first coil into area of the first coil, the whole divided by I1. So B1 is how much? Mu naught I1 divided by 2 times R1 into pi R1 square, the whole divided by I1. This and this will get cancelled. Mu naught pi R1 divided by 2. This should be the answer. But dimensionally, yes, it's right only. Mu naught pi R1 divided by 2 should have been the answer. But I will check again, okay? I'll check it once again, why they did it like that. And I'll let you know. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Concept is clear, no? So with this, the technical part is completely over. We are almost on the verge of completing this chapter. So the thing that is left out is AC generator and eddy current. Okay. First, we'll go with the concept of AC generator. Just give me a minute. I'll show you some video. Okay. I've opened the video. So you guys know what is an AC generator. Right? What does AC stand for?
Alternating.
Okay. So what do you mean by alternating current? So alternating current is that current which is bi-directional. Niklesh, you are telling something. Please continue. What is it?
So its directional change period.
That's right. So it is bi-directional. What do I mean by bi-directional? It will flow in the forward direction for some time and reverse direction for the remaining half of the time. So it has a time period associated with it. Right? Now the question is, you know what is AC? So what is generator?
Anything that generates electricity.
But what is the base for you to make the charges flow? So in terms of electrical,
Potential difference. Potential difference.
That's right. That's right. So if you have a device in your hand which can generate an alternating voltage means potential drop, right? Which can generate an alternating potential difference is what is called as an AC generator. Correct, Ada? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? Now the question is, for me to generate voltage, okay, I repeat it. For me to generate voltage, I want to think an answer. What is necessary?
Flow of electrons.
Voltage is supplied, then the electrons will flow. Try to understand. That is the basic of current electricity. When you apply a potential difference across the ends of a conductor,
Okay.
electrons will
Okay.
flow. But who is generating those potential difference? So in your third chapter also, you learned about an important device called as an electrical cell. You learned about cells, right? Electrolytic cells. So what do they have? They have electrolytes inside. They have electrolytes into which the anode and the cathode are dipped. And when the ionization takes place, the ions will start getting drifted towards the opposite terminals, as a result of which you get some potential difference, right? But here the question, so that is the main source for DC. That is why in your home and all in remote control, you will be using DC batteries. You're not using alternating voltages. Where do we generally use alternating voltage?
Axles.
Sorry?
Sir, to rotate
Yeah,
a
not
particular.
rotate. No need of rotation. In our house, what we use is alternating voltage. Right? In our house, whatever voltage we are using, it's an alternating voltage which has a value of 230 volts, 220 to 240 generally they say. And it has something called, it has a frequency of 50 hertz. I'm not sure if you guys have a prior knowledge of it. So in our house, what we're using is an alternating voltage with a frequency of 50 hertz. Okay. Now, the question that we need to answer is again, how will you generate this voltage? Because if I use an electrochemical cell, then I'm going to have only a direct current or a direct voltage. Means that is a voltage which does not change with respect to time. But what is our interest of study? We want the voltage to change with respect to time. So for that, what are we supposed to do?
Sir,
You must be
alternating polarity.
Alternating polarity, how do you generate them? I'm asking this question so many times because there is something to do with Faraday's law. What did Faraday say? What did Faraday say? What is Faraday's law of electromagnetic
So
induction?
when there is a relative motion between the pickup coil and the magnet, EMF is induced.
So this is not the mainly it is not about relative motion. There is something else. When there is a change of something with respect to time,
Change in flux.
that is more important. You should not use the word relative motion. When there is a rate of change of magnetic flux taking place, then EMF is generated.
EMF is produced.
Right. Now comes the logic of how an alternating generator is supposed to be designed. So for you to speak about the concept of flux, the first thing that you need is you need a magnetic field. So to generate the magnetic field, there are two poles that are already present, where the magnetic field is going to be from the north pole to the south pole. Accepted? Secondly, so for you to have a concept of flux, you need a closed surface. So for the closed surface, they use a coil like this, which is called as an armature coil. So we call it as armature coil. Clear, guys? Then you have these slip rings and the alternate EMF is generated from here. Let me show you a animation.
An AC generator is an electric generator that converts mechanical energy
So look at the
to electrical
galvanometer,
energy.
guys. Look at the galvanometer. So its polarity keeps changing.
In the form of an alternating EMF or alternating current. Working principle of an AC.
So before I show you the working principle, can you guys guess on what principle does it work?
Faraday's law.
It works on the principle of Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Also, the mechanical energy is getting converted to electrical energy.
Electrical energy.
Generator. An AC generator works on the principle of electromagnetic induction. In electromagnetic induction, when there is a relative motion between a coil and a magnetic field, an electric current or EMF is induced in the coil. Parts of an AC generator. An AC generator has
So
an
this
armature
ABCD is called as the
ABCD.
armature coil, and you have two magnetic poles which are again in the shape of a concave crescent, produce the radial magnetic field.
It is a rectangular coil with many turns wound around a soft iron core. A shaft, it can be rotated rapidly. A field magnet, it may be a strong permanent magnet with concave poles. Two slip rings S1 and S2. These are connected.
So if you
To the-
observe the slip rings S1, they are not split rings, okay? They are two different rings which are called as slip rings. Can you guys guess why slip rings are used?
So to measure the EMF,
Not used split rings are used. I think direct current will be produced. So we use slip ring.
Split rings are used in electric motor.
Are used to get?
Are used in electric motor.
Okay, that is okay. So, okay, electric motor is another electrical device, but my question is, why is slip ring used in this context?
So to get the current produced from the armature.
What kind of a current do we need?
Alternate.
We need an alternating current, right? So if you see these slip rings, right, those slip rings are connected to some rectangular boxes here. You able to see that? those are the carbon brushes which have the conducting property. Okay, and those red and the green wires are there, right? That is the place from where the output is taken. Sharida, when you take that output, you need to ensure that the output is changing with respect to time. So to maintain a separate contact for the positive and the negative terminal, the slip ring is used. If you observe, I will slowly rewind it. Now observe the speed, observe the slip ring, where I will try to reduce the playback speed also. You observe the slip ring, one end, one of the rods that is coming from the armature coil will be only in contact with S1. The other one will be in contact with S2, so that this will help the coil to change the direction with respect to time. Change the direction of current with respect to time. See.
Magnet. It may be a strong permanent magnet with concave poles.
Now see, they will show you.
Two slip
You are able to see.
rings S1 and S2.
Observe it clearly.
These are connected to the armature and thus rotate
So
with
there
it.
are two L shapes. See, now I think I paused it at the right place. So there are two outputs coming right from the coil. The coil is the one which is going to generate the EMF. Okay, and from that coil, one of the ends is connected to the ring which is connected to the green wire. The other end is connected to the ring which is connected to the red wire. Guys, confirm up if you are able to see that.
Yes, sir.
So this is the reason why the polarity will change. Okay, that is the reason why we use slip rings.
Two brushes B1 and B2. They provide electrical
So
contact
these carbon
with the
brushes
slip
are the
rings
ones
and
that are used to provide the electrical contact between the generator and a source to verify, that is a galvanometer. Okay.
load, which may be a galvanometer as shown. Working of an AC generator. When the armature rotates between the poles of the field magnet, the magnetic
See,
flux
guys, are you able to
linked with
understand
the
that the
armature
magnetic flux is
changes
going to change,
continuously.
changing with respect to time?
Yes, sir.
Now, I want to ask certain questions. I'm going to slow down the video again.
Maybe a galvanoid magnet.
Now, in this case, how much is the flux? Or I will slowly rewind.
Generator. When
How much is the flux in this case? Is it going to be maximum or zero?
Maximum, sir.
Now it should be maximum.
Why?
No, sir. Cost it. So it should be 0. Okay. Sin 9 cost.
Yeah, what you told is right only. It is maximum. Forget
Maximum.
about cost term, because you see all the field lines are passing through the coil only. Correct, Ada?
So the area covered is high, thereby the magnetic flux increases.
Ah. So area is, see, the whole coil, the whole magnetic field is enclosed within the coil itself. That is one logic. Or like how Nikhilesh told, you can take the area also. If you take the direction of area, that aerial vector is in the right side direction of ABCD. It is towards the south pole. So if I take since it's a rectangular coil, for two-dimensional shape, we are free to choose the direction of aerial vector. Let's say in this context, the aerial vector is to the right at this position. Then how much is going to be the angle between B and A? How much is the angle between B and A? It is 0 degrees. Correct? So cos 0 is maximum 1. So in this context, the flux is going to be maximum. Now, the coil is continuously in revolution.
magnet, the magnetic flux linked
In this context,
with the
It's slow, sir.
it is less. Actually, had it been completely horizontal,
Zero.
The flux would have, the
Zero.
flux would have been 0. Means in 1/4 of the revolution. Okay. So in 1/4 of the revolution, how much is the flux changing from? Flux is changing from maximum to 0.
Minimum.
Correct, Ada? Again,
Yeah,
in this case,
Maximum.
is it maximum? It is maximum in the
Opposite.
reverse direction.
Opposite. Yes.
Yes, it is
Oh,
maximum in opposite direction because in the previous case, aerial vector was to the right. That vector is also revolving along with the coil. Now, how much is the aerial vector making with respect to B? Now it is making 180 degrees. Previously it was 0 degrees. And now it is
Zero.
180
180.
degrees. 180, correct? So BA cos 180 is -1. So what will happen? The flux will have maximum magnitude, but with a negative value. Correct? Then again, what will happen? So this is after how much? This is after half a revolution. Correct? Ada? Now
Continue.
again it is
Zero.
slightly before. Now
Zero.
again it is 0. Means from the negative value, again it attains 0. For how much? 3/4 of a revolution. Now it is max. So you would understand. So in one complete revolution, how is the cycle changing? I would like to show you this.
Sure. From maximum to
I want you to visualize it. So one thing you have to have in your mind is this is the direction of magnetic field. Okay, the coil is like this, right? Initially, when the coil is like this, if I take this as the direction of aerial vector, then how much is the angle between B and A? 0.
Zero.
So that time the
Zero.
flux is maximum. So when it completes 1/4 of the revolution, then B is still in this direction, horizontal, but area is in perpendicular direction. So answer is 0. Correct?
Zero.
This is after how much revolution? 1/4. Then it comes like this. Magnetic field is in this direction, aerial vector is in this direction. So this is after half a revolution. Answer will be dA cos 180. Correct? Then it makes the other revolution.
Zero.
So this is after how much? 3/4 of a revolution. Then it comes to this position. This is after one complete revolution. You're able to understand this?
Yes.
So if the total time period taken to complete one revolution like this, so if these buttons are the starting side, if it takes the total time as capital T, from 0 to T/4, the flux is going from maximum to 0. I repeat, from T is equal to 0 to capital T/4, the flux is going from maximum to 0. From T/4 to T/2, flux is going from 0 to maximum in the negative direction.
Negative.
From T/2 to 3T/4, flux is going from
Negative maximum.
negative to 0.
Yes.
Now it is 0. No, aerial vector this direction, magnetic
Yes,
field this direction. Right. This is after how much?
3/4.
T/3/4. Yes. Then it is again coming like this.
Maximum.
So 0, T/4, T/2, 3T/4, and T.
Yes.
Okay. So this is what the whole logic is. But here, an important point to be noted is that this armature coil, that is the shaft that you're rotating, should be ensured that the coil is revolving with constant angular velocity. Okay, Vada? So based on this, we are going to derive certain mathematical equations. Try to understand. That is the building block for the next chapter. AC generator let the coil revolve with an angular speed, or you can take velocity, omega, which is constant. Okay. So if theta is the orientation of coil with respect to whom? With respect to B, then theta is equal to omega t, since theta is equal to omega naught into t plus half into alpha t square. This is the equation of rotational motion. In this case, alpha is how much? It is 0, because omega is constant. So theta will be equal to omega naught is same as omega. It will be omega into t. Are you guys able to understand this point? So theta will be equal to omega into t. So what is flux, guys? Flux will be dA cos theta, or it will be dA cos omega t. So flux as a function of time is going to have this value. So this is the only context in which the flux is changing with respect to time as a function of orientation. Am I clear, guys, till this point?
Yes, sir.
Right? Now see, what did Faraday tell? He told EMF is equal to minus d phi by dt. Okay. Had I taken the coil to have n number of turns, I will call this as n. Okay. Because we have the armature coil, it is not of one turn, it is made up of n turns. Right? So can I write EMF is equal to minus n into d phi by dt? So EMF will be equal to minus of, what is the derivative of this, guys? N into, I'm removing this n because you should not get confused that n will come twice. Or I will do it like this. Wait. N. So EMF will be equal to minus of d by dt of this flux NBA cos omega t. So what will come out of the derivative? Minus NBA into d by dt of cos omega t. So what will be the answer? Minus NBA, derivative of cos omega t is minus sine omega t into, guys, I hope everybody knows chain rule, into omega. So what did I do? Derivative of cos is minus sine of omega t into derivative of omega t is omega. This will be NBA omega into sine of omega t. Seriyoda? This is the value of EMF that will get generated. This is the value of EMF that will get generated as an alternating value. Why am I calling it as alternating? Because EMF is a function of time. It depends on time. Okay. Now listen to this carefully. This NBA omega is what is called as E naught, which is also called as the peak value of EMF. It's called as the peak value of EMF. Okay. So in the next chapter, this is the expression with which we are going to start. E is equal to E naught sine omega t. Okay. NBA into omega. Am I clear? So E will be equal to E naught times sine omega t. Shall I proceed? Now see. So if I take E is equal to E naught sine omega t, at t is equal to 0, what is the value of EMF? If I substitute 0 here, sine 0 is how much, guys? It is 0. Okay. And we have to remember that omega is equal to 2 pi divided by capital T. We already know this because omega is equal to 2 pi f, or f can be written as 1 by t. This we have discussed many times. So T is equal to capital T by 4. Okay. Then E will be equal to E naught into sine of omega is 2 pi by capital T into this is T by 4. T and T will get cancelled. It will be E naught sine of pi by 2, which will be E naught. Means, what did we discuss when I showed you the animation? At T is equal to 0, flux is maximum. You remember, guys?
Yes.
When T is equal to 0, flux is maximum. But what is happening to EMF? It is 0. Because, so you can think, well, like, why is the flux maximum but EMF 0? Because the flux didn't start changing at that time. It was a constant value. Then as time progressed, due to the change in the value, so the flux was decreasing, then the EMF started increasing. It is because of the change according to Faraday's law. In a similar way, if I take T is equal to T by 2, what will happen? EMF will be equal to E naught sine of 2 pi by capital T into T by 2, T and T will get cancelled. It will be E naught sine pi. It will be minus E naught. So I told you E naught is a maximum value. So minus E, wait. T is equal to T by 4, sine 2 pi by T. Oh, sorry, sine pi is 0. Sorry. That's what I was wondering. So sine pi should be 0. Sine pi, sine 180. Sine 180 is 0. Okay. So again, from maximum, it is dropping down to 0. At T is equal to 3T by 4, what will happen? E will be equal to E naught sine of 2 pi by capital T into 3T divided by 4. 2 and 2 will get cancelled. T and T will get cancelled. So it will be E naught
pi by 2.
Sine 3 pi by 2 is minus 1. Minus 3 pi by 2 is 270. So T is equal to 3T by 4. It is minus E naught. Then T is equal to capital T. What will happen? E naught sine of 2 pi by capital T into T. This and this will get cancelled. You will get E naught. 2 pi is 0. So sine 2 pi is 0. Correct? So this is what happens in one cycle. But what will happen is this cycle will keep repeating itself multiple times. So I told you, right, in our house we are using 240 volt. That volt is called as RMS value, that you will learn it in next chapter. RMS is root mean square. If I'm not wrong, you would have learned in kinetic theory of gases. Anyways, don't worry, you need not worry about it. So 240 volt of RMS value and the frequency is 50 hertz. So what is the meaning of frequency? Means an alternating current will get generated at our house in such a way that in 1 second, the armature coil that you saw will revolve 50 times. So the alternating, the armature coil that we saw will revolve how many times? 50 times. Means this kind of a complete cycle will happen 50 times in 1 second. That fast. Or else you know what would have happened. Had the speed, had the frequency been very less, what do you think would have happened?
So the EMF produced will be very slow.
It's not about that. You're using electrical devices in your home, right? For example, light. So if you look at your tube light, what would have happened is, let's say had it been, had the frequency been 3 hertz. Your bulb would have initially started, when you switch it on, the bulb would be completely dull. Then it will become maximum. Then again it will become dull. Again it will become maximum. Again it will be dull and it will be completely irritate us. Okay. Now you are able to see the bulb actually glowing with a constant intensity, right? That is happening only because of the frequency with which it is revolving. With whom? With the alternating voltage is getting generated. It has a frequency of 50 hertz. That is why, see, next time, see, if you have already observed it well and good, next time onwards, right? You know what is the meaning of low voltage? Have you ever seen? Suddenly everything will become dim in our house.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
right? Next time when you have a low voltage, right? If suppose you have a stabilizer at your home, check when it is less than 240, especially if you have an AC regulator with this thing, with a display. If the value falls below 220, right, you can see some flickering that is going to occur in the lights, tube lights.
Yes.
Next time, observe it. Okay, that is all happening only because of this parameter. So to maintain a constant value, these are all the basic requirements. See, unfortunately, school is not open, but you have this experiment in your school where you will be calculating the frequency of an alternating voltage. Okay, so there is an experiment where you will be doing it with a sonometer. Right? So with this, alternating current AC generator is over, but one last point to be focused upon is this graph. So this is what I was trying to say. So in this scenario, flux is flux is maximum, flux is 0, flux is minimum is minus. Again, flux is 0, again, flux is maximum. So what is happening? The EMF is starting at 0. It is going to the maximum value. And again, it is coming down. It is becoming 0. Again, it is going to the maximum value in the reverse direction. Then it is going to 0. And we are done. So this is one cycle. Imagine 50 cycles and how close the values will be. Actually, the EMF will be like this. And moreover, this is a sine graph because EMF is a function of sine omega t. That is the reason why we get a graph like this. Am I clear, guys? So the applications part, I'm leaving it to you. And one last concept that is left out is eddy current. I will just show you a video. After that, I'll explain the concept tomorrow, or else I'll do one thing. I'll explain it tomorrow. You listen it with a fresh mind. Okay. That is the only concept left out, and we'll do this example 6.10 also tomorrow. This is also important. Remind me, okay, if I forget about this example. Okay. And that's it. So applications part, you guys read it. They about it. India 50 hertz. In other countries like USA, it is 60 hertz, and they will have only 110 volt. We have 230, no, they will have only 110. Some books give us 240, some give us 220. So 220 to 240 is fine.
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Please tell me.
Sir, is the voltage and frequency inversely proportional?
How do you say that?
Sir, you said no, sir. In India, 50 hertz, but the voltage 230 to 240. But in America, it's 110, but it's 60 hertz, sir.
It has to do
So
something with
the
this.
higher the frequency, the lower the voltage.
That is what you're thinking. So there's not a linear equation.
Oh,
There's not a linear equation or a equation with inversely proportional concept. See, it is not like y is equal to mx format or y is equal to constant by x. It is not like that. It is a sine function. So sine will increase and decrease. Okay, the values, the peak voltage will be controlled in such a way that the value of omega and t will adjust themselves so that you get the EMF of that value. Moreover, you need to understand what that 110. I told you it is RMS value, right? See,
yes.
Mostly what happens, none of them understand the significance of it. So yeah, that is what I focus when I'm teaching alternating currents. At that point, you'll understand why I'm telling this. Sharia. So again, this problem is simple. I want you guys to try it out. There is nothing for me to teach. Sharia. In tomorrow's class, we will see eddy currents in example 6.10. Then in the next half an hour, we will start alternating current basics. Right. So meanwhile, keep revising. I think you would have got the test schedule, right? Start preparing accordingly, and I hope you guys know about the term 1 portions also. So in the term 1 portions, I'm not sure when they told it's November, right? November or December is the exam. They told. For term 1, you have till alternating currents. So we are starting alternating currents tomorrow. Maximum 5 classes. That's it. Means by next week, alternating currents will also be over. Means you are ready for term 1. So it is now your time to start studying. So prepare accordingly, and I'll keep continuous tests on all those things. Okay. So
Yes.
with respect to what procedure we are going to follow, I'll come up with a meeting. So I'm preparing a PPT on what is to be done. So I'll prepare and then I'll come. So you guys
And
need not worry
and
about
for the test next week, will it be a MCQ test or a?
not MCQ. As of now, it is not
Okay.
MCQ.
Okay.
As of now, I'll give subjective because I don't have a sample paper. But don't worry, we have MCQs also ready in our hand. So it's not like that.
Okay.
So first I want to check how much of subjective knowledge you guys have. Then we'll go to MCQs once the blueprint is released. Sharia. So,
Okay.
what I'm trying to say here is you guys forget about that MCQs. Okay. So I want you guys to prepare as if you're going to write a subjective test. It is then your subject knowledge will be very strong. Okay. Or else what will happen? You will go with this guess concept. Don't do that. That will hit your engineering or something. At the time they will struggle in your degree. Don't do that. That's it, guys. It's a simple thing. Okay. I'll see you all in the next class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.